Here is the last picture of a man who would lead 129 officers and crew on an Arctic expedition that would never be seen again. His name, Sir John Franklin. They were some of the top seamen at the time, and these are their faces. Images taken on the docks just before they departed. And so they set off from England into the Arctic, last seen by an Arctic whaler off the coasts of Greenland, and never to be seen again. Three years later, and then more time passed, and still no word from the Franklin expedition. And there was worry in the halls of the Admiralty under Sir John Barrow. Over the course of the next several years, over 30 expeditions were set out looking for the Franklin men. But this just resulted in more death and destruction. This very desolate place. And I am just surrounded by mosquitoes. I can't even open the plane door. It's going to be fun camping in the plane. Because once I open the door, there's about 1,000 mosquitoes go in with me. I'm just going to get my pack and do some hiking. Well, I covered about 12 miles and I'm halfway back. No sign of anything. Just a lot of animal tracks. Caribou, wolf, nothing spectacular, no polar bear. So, got a few more miles to go, and then I've got to refuel the plane amongst the skeeters and get to the next stop. It's about 6 hours later. I'm guessing it's about 7 p.m. and it's been a good walk. All right, time to roll.
duck under and land if we had to. Sources. You can see why these guys did not survive very long. There's nothing.
For today, one side would be the best. I'm expecting traffic getting fuel.
You never know. Not much. Looking good. Nada. That's the thing. You don't want to shoot it behind the polar bear, because then the polar bear will come towards you. So I'll get 2 cracker shells and maybe a couple of slugs. We got just straight steel 3-inch loads for close range. I hope I don't have to see that. These bears are about 700 to 1,000 pounds. Alright, let's start with the cracker shell. And we'll start also with another cracker shell after these 2, and we'll follow with those 2 slugs. Alright, safety off. Let's see, we'll gauge it. I'm going to shoot to the right of that little bend in the river, a little mound. Let's see how far out it goes. Didn't go anywhere. Blew up right here. Okay, well, it's better than behind the bear. Let's try another one. Ooh, there it goes. Alright, let's blast away at the water here. Just on the other edge. Alright, well that works. So here's a little lesson to be learned. I was walking along the shoreline of King William Island, and the tides come in really, really far because it's so flat, and it creates these tidal mud flats. And some of these areas of the mud flats, it's almost like quicksand. And sure enough, I was taking a shortcut out across a mucky area, following some footprints of some animal, and bam, no warning, I sunk up to my calves and then going deeper. And it's probably lucky for me, I had remembered stories of Alaska, like in Cook's Inlet at the Turnagain Arm, these tidal flats, biggest tides in the world, people getting stuck all the time. And the only way you can get out is rescuers coming with compressed air and injecting hoses down to loosen up the suction. Otherwise, and it's happened, the tides come in, and that's what happened to this poor woman. Her name was Dickinson, and unfortunately, she was helping her husband. They were trying to get either a Jeep or an ATV. I think it was a Jeep. She was out pushing and got stuck, and they tried to get her out, and the tide was coming and deeper, and she was getting hypothermic, and then there was nothing they could do. Talk about horrible. They did everything they could, but the tide came in, and when the tide went back down, she was probably buried. Anyway, sad story. So like I was saying, I was pretty lucky, I think, because I had remembered those stories, and I've always said, whenever I would go out, I would keep my hip waders. I would keep that buckle that goes around your ankles. I'd always keep that unclipped. I would always laugh to myself, yeah, but as it turned out, that I think that made the difference, because I was able to finally work my way out of those things. What a mess. I remember my arms and hands going in the muck and rolling around, and I did get all muddy, but I finally was able to work my way out of those things, and they're still there today somewhere under the silt, because I was able to roll backwards and get out of there. The funny part was I had to walk all the way back to the plane with all my stuff with just my wool socks on, but I'll tell you, I was not unhappy with that, because the tide was coming in, and you can imagine the alternative. But in those situations, if you just keep calm, keep focused, you'll think more constructively, and usually you'll come out on top. So that's a little lesson for y'all if you ever were to ever get in that kind of a situation. Probably not, but you never know. I think it's a char, I'm guessing. Wow. Yep. Oh man, every cast, this is ridiculous. Wow, it's really fighting. My rod tip broke, so I'm using a half a rod here. Beautiful fish, look at that. Every cast. You never go hungry here, man. Boy. Alright, let's get this thing. Let's get this thing in the sand. Let him get him released. Wow. Oh, brother. shaky. Oh, look at that. Let's let him go. Alright, it's time to bug out of here. We've been here long enough. It's been fun. I'm just kind of getting stuff ready. Repacked up. It's been fun. Got some good caribou interaction. Okay, a few other little things. Let's see here. Alright. Any sign of anything? No. These are my tie downs. Sweet.